Hello and welcome to the ROC Football Netball Show, brought to you by Gameface. I'm Adam Miller, and once again alongside me is Steph Barkers. Good afternoon, Steph.
Good afternoon, Aiden. Very excited to be here again. Let's take a look at what's coming up in episode 5. We go around the grounds. We'll take you through players that we think are ones to watch, and we'll take you through some matchups that we're excited about this weekend in our Saturday Sizzler segment.
We've got a match of the round preview. We've also got a post-match interview with Daniel Plozza from Healesville.
Earlier in the week, I caught up with Donna Gray from Belgrave, who played her 300th game on the weekend.
We've also got an interview with Northeast Blaze coaches Kate Upton and Ella Bayliss from Northeast Blaze.
All right, let's go around the grounds. So, Aiden, it's Pride Rounds this weekend. It's also the 10th anniversary of the original Pride Cup. So Yarra Glen and Healesville will clash in what we expect will be an electrifying match, battling it out for the Pride Cup title. ROC Football Netball will be embracing and celebrating inclusion and diversity across this week, and we look to continue to build a culture where LGBTQI plus people feel safe, welcome and accepted in our competition.
Next week as well is our National Volunteer Week, so don't forget to thank someone at your club who does a lot of work behind the scenes and keeps your club running.
Absolutely, and of course we have a special giveaway happening now on our Instagram. Make sure you jump on, check it out, and enter. You could win 2 tickets to an episode of Channel 7's The Front Bar. All right, it's time for ones to watch. Aiden, tell us about a netballer who you think that we should be keeping an eye on.
I think this week we'll take a look at Alana McGurgan. She's the centre for Yarra Glen. She's the 2023 B&F winner, 2023 Team of the Year, 2-time 2024 Team of the Week so far. Really strong start to the season for Alana.
Absolutely. She's had a stellar start to her season, and I can't wait to see more from her. From a footy point of view, for me, it's hard to go past Luke Spalding from Yarra Junction, who plays in the half-back line. So he's currently leading the Div 1 competition in contested marks. He's ranked at elite level on Premier data for disposals, intercept possessions, and 1%ers. He's been in our Team of the Week for 3 of the 4 weeks it's gone up, which is massive. And he's been listed in the best players twice. So definitely one to watch for me for that point of view.
Our other one to watch would be Molly Webb from Emerald. She's got 6 goals in round 4, 10 goals so far for the season. She's been listed in the best players 3 of the 4 weeks so far and was in the ROC Football Netball Team of the Week from last week.
Incredible. Looking forward to seeing more from those guys. Now we move on to Saturday Sizzlers. So these are some matchups that we're looking forward to for this weekend. Do you want to start it off with our men's football matchup?
We'll take a look at Paddy Brazisi, likely going up against Michael Miso from Berwick Springs. First in centre clearances is Paddy with 14 so far this season. First for inside 50s at 29. First for score involvements, 16, or goal involvements more likely, and third for kick currently this season with 57. For Michael, first in centre clearances with 7, first in tackles, 16 so far for the season, first in goal involvements, 11, and third in kicks with 50 this season.
Should be a pretty even matchup. I'm really excited. I hope those two line up on each other this weekend. As we move into women's footy, we've got Nicole Kimpton from Seville versus Jess Okapinti from Woori Yallock. So Nicole's a key defender. She's already been named in the best players twice. She was included in the Team of the Week. And according to her team, she is considered a very strong leader on the field. Jess already has 10 goals so far this season. She's been named in the best players twice. She's been included in last week's Team of the Week, and she was the 2022 leading goal kicker and was in the Team of the Year. So that should be a really tough matchup. Really looking forward to it.
In a Premier Division matchup this week, it'll be between Narre Warren and Monbulk, and it'll be the battle of 2 goal attacks. Steph Bergerson, the captain from Monbulk, she's got 98 goals this season. She's had an inclusion already in the Team of the Week for season 2024, and of course she is the captain of Monbulk. And then for Narre Warren, Grace Lolu, she's had 2 inclusions in the Team of the Week in 2024. She's been named as the best finals player for Narre Warren in 2023 and also has 89 goals for the season in 2024.
Absolutely massive. Those two could be the game deciders for that one, so looking forward to it.
Most definitely.
All right, it's time for our match of the round preview. Aiden, let's get into the footy.
So, match of the round this week will be between Officer and Gembrook-Cockatoo. And in the football, first up, both teams currently 2 and 3 on the ladder, with Gembrook-Cockatoo sitting 8th and Officer sitting 9th, so it'll be pretty close. The matchups I'm probably looking forward to in the footy will probably be Damien Volter likely up against Rob Hudson for Officer, and then I think Jake Gaines is going to have the massive job trying to stop Miles Warren from kicking too many goals. In the netball, similar, 2 and 3 for both teams, but this time it's ROC, who are 8th on the ladder, Gembrook-Cockatoo, who are 9th on the ladder. And I think the big matchup will be between Mariah Bell from Gembrook-Cockatoo. She's got 134 goals in the season, and I think likely Isabella O'Shaughnessy will have the job trying to stop her.
Amazing. There's some very exciting matchups there as well. All right, well, this week we have been very lucky because we have multiple guests on this week's show. But first, let's take a look at Aiden's interview with Daniel Plozza from Healesville.
Well, we're here today with Healesville co-captain Daniel Plozza after a really good win in the match of the round against Alexandra. Daniel, how do you feel after today's win?
Feeling my age, that's for sure. But all the boys stood up today. It was a massive team effort, so it's just good to get the win and get the season back on track again.
What were the thoughts at three-quarter time when they kicked 4 goals in that last quarter to get themselves back in front?
Basically, we're just getting led to the ball. We're just being lazy, so we just had to tighten it up, make sure we're not giving away free kicks. So, yeah.
Yep. What were some of the messages from the coach that helped you get back into the game?
Basically, just man up. Our forward entries were getting sloppy, so we just wanted to try and clean that up.
Yep. We're also receiving words, Ploz, that you're about to break the all-time games record here at Healesville, so not too far away from that.
Yeah, just a couple off, as long as the body holds up. So, I don't know, I'm limping through at the moment, so we'll see how we go.
No, we'll back you in for that as well, mate. What brought you down to Don Road Reserve all those years ago? What was the thing that enticed you to get down here?
Oh, just love me sport. So I think I started playing footy when I was about 9 or something like that and just loved it. Haven't left, so that's about it.
Yep. And the co-captaining role, how's that been for you?
Oh, good. I'm actually not the media man. I'm the talker, whereas Nick Mendy's actually the face behind the captaincy. So this is weird for me.
Well, you must be very happy with the win today, Ploz. So thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck with it all for the rest of the season.
No dramas. Thanks for having us.
Also as well, Steph had a chat with Donna Gray from Belgrave, who's the first ever female player in our competition to break the record of playing 300 games.
All right, so I'm here with Donna Gray today, who plays for Belgrave Football Netball Club. So, Donna, I just wanted to chat to you because obviously recently you've just hit the 300 game milestone, which is massive. So, congratulations on that. But I wanted to take a look back on your career and maybe chat about some memories and things like that you've had over your time. So, as far as I understand, you played in the inaugural year of the netball competitions in 2005, and at that time you were at Upway Tacoma, and you're also involved in the first ever premiership team there. So what are your memories of when you first started playing netball in our competition?
Yeah, that's all very correct. So I did begin with Upway when it all sort of kicked off right back in 2005. It was very interesting when it first began the competition as to where it's come and evolved to now. It was not every club had a team. So we had a shortened season. That didn't change anything. We still continue to train every single week to try and improve and get better. But from the very first season, we obviously had to establish a uniform and begin right at the very beginning. So it was quite exciting at the time. Even back things that I can remember how we did the scoring back then. The scoring was just on a clipboard and people would do a running tally. And the way that that's evolved over the last 19 years is massive. And other things which we used to have to do was scout out for netball courts. So there were no netball courts at every single facility.
Yeah, right.
And even deciding where you would play. So I know we began playing on a basketball court where they spun the hoops around to make it netball.
Yeah.
After a few matches, they decided that wasn't overly suitable. It just didn't quite have the right dimension. So then they looked for a neighbouring court and had to link in with the local high school to try and get use of the posts for a Saturday. And then just building from there every year, it sort of just built a little bit better and a little bit bigger to what it is today.
Yeah, amazing. And you played 100, or you maybe played over 100 games, but I know you got your 100th game at Upway Tacoma. I think it was around the end of the 2010 season. And then in 2011, you moved to Belgrave with one of your teammates, Cara Salmon. And am I right in saying you were a playing coach when you first got to Belgrave? Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct as well. Yeah, the opportunity just presented itself that Belgrave, they had a year off netball at that stage. And so they were looking at redeveloping their netball and having it start back up again. And the opportunity just presented itself for us to move across and become player coaches for that first season to get them started again. So yeah, Cara and I did move across to get it back up and running.
Yeah, amazing. And you were a member of the first ever Belgrave A-grade premiership team in Division 1, and then as well as 2017 and Division 2 A-grade premiership team. So you've been pretty successful. You've kind of had premierships at both clubs. What are your memories of sort of, I know they must be so exciting when you sort of get to that game even, and then to win those premierships. What do you remember about those?
Yeah, so we were definitely, all three premierships I was involved in were special times, as you can imagine. The Belgrave premierships, we had developed a nice little cohort together, and it was the same sort of group which continued through to that 2017 premiership as well from the 2014. It was a nice little community group back then. There was quite a few people with young kids at the time as well, so it was sort of a social get together for our children at the same time as playing netball on the side. Again, lots of fond memories of the trainings as well as the matches. It was an opportunity to catch up twice with your mates through the week.
For sure.
But yeah, lots of special times with that group of ladies we played with.
Oh, you sort of talk about, your friendships and your kids being friends and that social side of it. Do you feel like that's something that has kept you in the game, is that social aspect and forming those friendships and communities?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really nice to see the kids start to become friends with your friends' children, and then they actually start to look forward to your matches on a Saturday so that they can catch up with their friends and start that little tradition as well. So yeah, it's definitely something which has kept us all coming back each year.
Yeah, amazing. And then obviously the last one. So in round 5, you play your 200th game for Belgrave, which gives you a total of 300 matches. You are the first female in our competition's history to hit that 300 game milestone. How did you feel at the start of that game, knowing that, this was such a big moment?
Yeah, it was quite a special moment for myself. 300 games, it sort of just crept on up as well. It doesn't seem like it's been 300 games. But yeah, it was a special moment to see how the women's sport has really evolved in the Yarra Valley across the 2 decades almost now, and to see the participation levels just continue to grow through the netball and the football. So it was a special moment, I suppose, when I look back at where it's come from. I do recall as well in the clubs I've been involved in when they made the critical decision to add the netball into their, official title of the clubs, and the decision and the culture change that happened was actually really special to be a part of. Watching it, the women sort of get embraced into both clubs was really nice to see.
Yeah, amazing. That's an awesome memory. And did you or the team or anyone do anything to celebrate? Were there signs on the side? Was there, I don't know, a little celebration after the game?
Yeah, my team looked after me. We did do a little celebration with some food afterwards. They had prepared a nice little present for me, and that was a lovely banner. So very much felt the love from the Belgrave girls on that day.
Yeah, lovely. Amazing. Well, that's all I've got for you today, but really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on your milestone. And it's been really nice to hear about your journey that is obviously still continuing too. So who knows how many games you might get to.
Well, some great insights from both of those players there. Some huge achievements going on, with Daniel Plozza about to break the all-time games record at Healesville, Donna being the first female player to reach 300 games. But now we have a very special interview with 2 special guests. Aiden is going to interview Ella and Kate from Northeast Blaze.
Hey Ella, thank you very much for joining us on the Outer East Football Netball Show today. We're going to take you through a few questions first of all, and we talk about 2 Ps in the pod. You guys are the pinnacle of that, saying that you're both the Mount Evelyn's team of the decade. Kate as coach, Keller, you're listed as wing attack. Both involved at Wandon after Mount Evelyn. You were both at the Roval Sports Academy. Kate, you were the director of netball coaching. Ella, you were the assistant coach. You were both previously at Collingwood Magpies. Kate, you were the assistant coach. Ella, once again, you were playing. Both previously a part of the Victoria Fury, with Kate as coach again, Ella as the player and MVP in the year 2016. Now you're both also part of the Northeast Blaze, with Ella, a life member, playing in the championship team and coaching under 23 side. Kate, you're also the head coach of the championship team. How are you both finding the championship team season so far?
Well, you answer that. I was going to say, you can answer it from a play perspective first.
Oh yeah, I think we've definitely had the best start to the season that we've had in quite a long time, and I think it We've got a mix of youth and a mix of fossils, we like to call them. But I think that mix of experience and youth is really good for us, and just the connections that we have off the court too. We've worked really hard in building those, and I think that's probably been the difference this year, making those connections off the court before we bring them onto the court. And then obviously having Kate back full time as well. We haven't really had her around as much because of her Collingwood commitment. So this year having her around as a little bit more consistently, I think has been a real key in our success in that.
Kate, you said the focus for your players this season is the ability to perform under pressure and fatigue. How do you think this is going so far?
It's probably actually much better than I thought it would. That's one thing that we really did struggle in those pressure moments, is the decision making, and that's when we would potentially last year lose some close games by 1, 2 or 3. So for us, it was a big focus on knowing what to do in those moments and knowing what our role was in those moments. And I feel like majority of the games that have been close, we've come away with it. We've lost a couple of games, but I don't think that that's due to the pressure. That's probably more our decision making on problem solving.
Yep. Ella, how was the under-23 season going so far?
Yeah, good. I think we came off to a flying start. We had a really good start to the season, really great connections. We had, obviously it was pretty much a brand new team with the change in Netball Victoria's structure with our 23s. So I think the inclusion of some really new people with the existing players that we already had at the club, I think that we had a really great start. We had a little bit of a rough patch through the middle, but we had a few injuries, a few out with state commitments and things like that. So I think we lost maybe 4 in a row. But last week we had our first win again, and I think that we're really starting to find our feet again, and it's all about peaking at the right time, which I think that we will.
What's kept the two of you in the game for so long?
I think it's a bit cliche, but probably friendships.
Yeah.
I think that there's a huge journey, and you can go on lots of different journeys, lots of different paths in netball, but I just think it's the people that you meet. I don't ever really remember specifics about games, about how much we lost a game by or whatever happened. I just remember the funny things that happened, or the friendships that you make and the connections and the people that you see 10 years later and reconnect with them. And I think it's about that for me.
I think it's how an environment makes you feel. And I think we're really privileged to be able to have Blaze as one of our main environments that's been consistent in our life. And I think walking in there, it's a safe environment. You know that you can actually go there and be free of, whatever challenges you might have in life, and then go and play netball and be around people that you want to be around. So for me, it's probably the connection piece. Also, from a coaching perspective, being able to watch the likes of Ella. There's quite a few girls that I've had from such a young age, watching them grow and develop, not only just in netball, but in life is quite rewarding. So I think that keeps you going. You
both worked extremely hard in a range of opportunities. Do you think you could pinpoint what's been the highlight of both of your careers so far?
That's a hard one. Again, I probably think that people think about the individual accolades, but for me, it was probably 2016 when we won Blaze Premiership. That was a huge one. Obviously, the individual one, was it 17? Yeah, 2017. Obviously, the individual ones are great too, but I don't really remember any of those. I wouldn't remember the dates. I wouldn't remember anything like that. And probably footy netball has been one of the highlights. Obviously, we were at Mount Evelyn together and at Wandon, and those times were you didn't realise it in the moment, but when you look back, that was the time of our lives. We had the most fun, we were playing great netball, and we still have connections from those years.
I've probably got 4 premiership moments and then 2 other moments that I really feel have kind of stuck with me as how they made you feel in that actual moment. The 4 premierships, the first one was Mount Evelyn, and then we went Blaze, and then I've had 2 ANC premierships were probably against the odds. So for me, and ones that we never really spoke about winning, and it was just one of those ones that you went through the process and you built a really great and unique team. And the other moments were games that we were up against it where we had to win, like Collingwood, I think 2019, round 4, oh, it wasn't round 14 because there's not that many rounds, was it? Yeah, round 14. And we had to beat Vixens that had bonus points at that time for each quarter that you won. And then we had to beat them by so many points, and then we had to win each quarter, and that was to get into finals. That was probably one of the most epic ones I've ever been a part of. And then COVID came, and then we had the same scenario in 2022, I reckon it might have been. So, and then we had to win or lose by only 2. And it was the greatest loss I've ever had in my life because we lost by 2 and then we made the finals again.
Apart from that, what are some of the things you'd like to still be able to achieve in the future?
That's a hard one.
I'd like to pass on a legacy, which I feel like, we've started with a lot of players that are still in our environment. Pass on a legacy that it's actually about creating a really good environment that everyone wants to be in, and growth and development, not ego. Growth and development.
Yeah, I'd probably go on from that. I think that that's a really important one, and it's probably seeing the players now branching into their coaching ventures and seeing them sort of start to create environments that sort of we have created at players. I think that's really cool.
Ella, I'd like to go through some of the players who are currently on your list and just get some of your thoughts on them. So firstly, from Wandon, Maddie George, who's the Blaze under-23 captain.
Yeah, I think Maddie's a good story for Outreach. She started at Wandon as a junior, and she's gone up the ranks, and she's certainly unorthodox, but she just works really hard. I think that she's someone that you want on your team because she's the type of player that will give it her all until the final whistle. She never gives up. She doesn't have an ego. She doesn't have an attitude. She just goes about her business. She understands our game plan to a T. If she doesn't, she's asking questions. She's bringing other people along for the ride. She's honestly like the best teammate, I think.
And she's a great clutch moment player.
Yeah.
If you need to win ball, you definitely want Maddie on your court.
Yeah.
Ali Langdon from Warburton and Millgrove.
Yeah, I think another one that sort of flew under the radar for a little bit.
Yep.
Just came through the juniors playing at Pink's Reserve, and then obviously has played at Warburton as well, and she's a key player for them. But for us, she's probably a deceiving key player. We play her in goalkeeper against a tall because she has really great body position. But we also played her in wing defence on last Wednesday as a shutdown role, and she did incredibly.
Yeah.
She's really athletic. She, again, understands the game plan. She attacks really well, which is hard for defenders, and you don't often come along defenders that attack very well, but she carries the ball well. She's definitely a silent assassin. She doesn't say a lot, but she is definitely one that you want to have on your team as well.
And probably one that doesn't really realise her own potential on the court.
Yeah.
Montana Wallace from Mount Evelyn.
Yeah, Tana. She is super strong, super fit. The balls that she takes and gets knocks in the air are just insane. I think that she had a slower start to the year. She came off a Japan holiday, which I think served her well. But she definitely has warmed up into it, and she's really taken it to every opponent. She's playing across all 3 mid-court positions. We can kind of throw her anywhere, and she's another one. She doesn't really have an ego. She's pretty quiet. She goes about her business, but she's really strong, and I definitely wouldn't want to come up against her.
No, and she was a training partner last year, I think, and then slotted into the team, and we probably didn't realise her full potential until we put her out there in centre, and she's come leaps and bounds in probably the last 18 months of making sure that we've got someone consistent on the court running long lines.
Yeah.
And lastly, Eliza Molino from Pakenham.
Yeah, I think you can talk about it.
Yeah, Eliza's very exciting. So her netball's kind of flourished in the last 2 years, and we now have a TID athlete for the Aussie under-19s, and she's a bottom major as well. So she's a player that's obviously at Pakenham and has come through the Victorian pathway, and has also been TID through Australia, VIS, and we have the privilege of now having her at Blaze. Had a short stint with Lies at Roval Sports Academy as well, and she's pretty much a player that we want to look to for future growth and development to play for our country.
And all these players we see as a massive community partner of Outreach for 2024 for our competition to grow and continue development for our netball program. Why do you guys think it's important for these programs to help our grassroots competitions?
Oh, it's so important to make sure that we have that connection. One, because that's where it all starts. That's where we all come from. So we don't want to actually forget about where we've come from, and we don't want to forget about giving back to that as well. I think that keeps us quite humble in the process. I think the other one is to give every player the opportunity to see what the pathway looks like and the connection with the pathway from Outer East to a VNL club. And I think once you can actually see it, it becomes realistic for them. And to be able to see and hear about experiences and people that have come from Outer East and moved into the VNL, and then also the ones that are giving back. that's something that we love doing, is making sure that we give back in whatever capacity, whether it's a full season or whether it's just, snippets here and there, or giving back to coaches and players. So I think the connection piece is really good in a pathway, so that those that want to can actually see what it's there for.
We like to think that we make a big focus on the volunteers, mentors, coaches, committee members, all those kind of people in sporting clubs. Is there any one that you two can think of, or a couple of people you two can think of, that were a massive help in your journey along the way?
Who was a massive help in your journey along the way?
I think, I just can't think off the top of my head. No, I think obviously lots of people have been important in my journey.
Yes.
I think obviously it starts as your parents, like they're really significant in that, but then it branches out into other people. Obviously my first taste of kind of senior netball was at the Mount Evelyn Football Netball Club, and that was being with Jade Hoddies, Heinrich, but Lauren Tezzer, and I think that she was huge, and she still is huge in the netball space, in the footy netball space. She, in just like the whole community, in the Outer East community, but the Mount Evelyn community, she goes above and beyond. She will do anything for you. She was definitely a significant person for me. And then once I met Kate, Kate's been huge in that too. And I don't think that I would be the person that I am today, let alone the netballer that I am today, if I hadn't have met Kate. So, and it was a really big decision for me to go to Mount Evelyn. I wasn't sure about it. And then when I went, obviously that then pushed me into Interleague, and then I moved to London, and that's all the connection of Lauren, Kate, and then it just progresses from there. So I think that though they're definitely two people that have been huge in my netball journey and who I've really appreciated in that space.
Yeah, and I think when you look outside of that and we look into probably more our pathway and who we probably respect and admire and learnt a lot from would be Kathy Fellows, who's at Adelaide Thunderbirds as an assistant coach and has been for probably about 6 or 7 years now. We had the privilege of having her through Fury Flames, which is the underpinning Victorian program through the Vixens. And then someone like Neil Woolmeyer, who's at our club and who just gives back so much to our netball community and literally does the hard yards for us. It's people like that I think we sometimes take for granted, but then realise how important they are in helping our day-to-day functioning as coaches and players.
A lot of coaches are different. I think everyone goes about it in a different way. Would there be is there any sort of philosophy that you two follow, or any just kind of style that you like to try and implement when it comes to coaching?
We've changed.
Yeah, we've definitely changed. And Kate presented at school about this the other day.
Yeah, well, ours is probably more a holistic approach now. I think with the change in how accessible things are in our society now for our kids and how challenging it can be just to be a teenager and grow into a happy and healthy adult, I think it's really important to make sure that we have that holistic approach of making sure that we've got high expectations, but also too we've got a lot of empathy and care for our athletes. So we've taken the big approach and together we work quite well with that. And I think when you actually find someone you can work well with, it's easy to do that. One can be like, I don't like it, the good cop, bad cop, because it's probably not like that. But, one can actually be a little bit harder and the other one can give a little bit of love. So for us, it's about making sure that we've got really happy and healthy athletes, and then we flick into what the expectation is of those athletes. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And lastly, what would your advice be for anyone in the kind of Outer East community who wants to try and get into netball and maybe make a career out of it?
Foundation.
Yeah, I think that
fundamentals,
basic skills, the foundations of netball are really overlooked at the moment, with in particular our juniors. So we get a lot of juniors that come and they want to do all the flashy stuff and they want to run on with the ball and all those sort of things. But even at your Collingwood level, like your Vixens, your Mavericks, they're all doing basic fundamental skills. At Blaze, we do basic fundamentals. The ones that progress are normally those ones that can execute the fundamentals every single time. So then when it gets to a game and you're under pressure, there's no doubt that you can execute those things. And I think that it's maybe a bit boring for some coaches or for some players, but that's the beauty of being a coach. You get to find different ways of how to teach that and get that across and make it interesting for your players. But that's the absolute most important thing.
And I think attitude comes into that as well. I think how you present and how you bring someone along for the ride instead of actually just being an individual, focusing on yourself in your own game, and sometimes your ego can be challenged in that. I think that, we look for body language, we look for someone who's actually making sure that they're encouraging their teammates, that they're actually, whether the circumstances are quite challenging or not, sometimes it can be hard either way, whether you're winning by heaps or losing by heaps. So making sure that you're bringing someone into delivering that game plan and bringing someone in to be able to, play out that game.
Because at the end of the day, it's a team sport and you're only going to be as good as the person next to you. So why not make them look good? You make them look good, they'll make you look good, your team's successful.
That's the biggest point. I think we forget that by you making somebody else look good, you look good.
Well, thank you very much, Kate and Ella. We really appreciate you coming on the show today, and some great insights there into the Northeast Blaze and all the fundamentals and the important parts of the game of netball. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, that pretty much wraps up all there is to talk about in the Outer East this week. And of course, there was plenty to talk about with 3 interviews, plenty of big matchups coming up along the way as well. So, Steph, thanks again for joining me.
No problems.
And for all the viewers out there, don't forget to get your game face on.